In December 1944, the Allied advance across Western Europe faced an unexpected crisis. The German army launched a massive counteroffensive through the Ardennes forest, beginning what became known as the Battle of the Bulge. Caught in the middle was the town of Bastogne, a strategic road junction essential for controlling movement in the region. Surrounded and heavily outnumbered, American forces inside Bastogne faced the real possibility of complete destruction. The responsibility to relieve them would fall to General George Patton and the United States Third Army.
On December 19th, 1944, elements of the U.S. 101st Airborne Division, along with attached units, were ordered to move to Bastogne. They arrived with limited supplies, minimal winter equipment, and little time to establish defensive positions. By December 20th, German forces had encircled the town. Cut off from outside support, American forces endured constant artillery bombardment. Medical supplies were scarce, food was rationed, and ammunition began to run low. Extreme winter conditions further weakened the defenders. Temperatures dropped below freezing, and snowstorms restricted visibility. On December 22nd, the German commander sent an ultimatum demanding the Americans surrender. Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe, acting commander of the 101st Airborne Division, gave a one-word response: nuts. The siege continued.
While Bastogne struggled to hold, Allied commanders met in Verdun on December 19th to plan a response. General Eisenhower asked for proposals on how to counter the German offensive. General Patton immediately stated that he could disengage his forces from their current operations, pivot his entire Third Army north, and attack the German flank within 48 hours. This maneuver required extraordinary logistical coordination. 3 divisions, the 4th Armored Division, the 26th Infantry Division, and the 80th Infantry Division would need to change direction, travel more than 100 miles in severe weather, and prepare for combat upon arrival. Patton issued the necessary orders on the same day. Beginning December 21, the Third Army began its movement toward Bastogne.
The Third Army's advance was slowed by snow, ice, and congested roads filled with retreating civilians and military vehicles. Despite these conditions, supply units, engineers, infantry, and armored formations maintained continuous movement. The 4th Armored Division led the advance. Engagements occurred along the route, including heavy fighting around the towns of Martelange, Warnack, and Bougainville. Anti-tank positions, mines, and roadblocks caused additional delays. Air support was initially limited due to poor weather, preventing effective reconnaissance and close air support. However, on December 23rd, the weather improved, enabling Allied aircraft to drop supplies to the defenders in Bastogne and support advancing ground units. The Third Army sustained significant casualties in the process. Frostbite, exhaustion, and constant enemy resistance increased the number of non-combat and combat losses. Despite these obstacles, Patton's units continued pushing toward the encircled town.
By December 25th, the 4th Armored Division reached the outskirts of Bastogne. German forces launched counterattacks in an attempt to prevent the breakthrough, resulting in heavy fighting around the villages of Assenois and Cibourg. On December 26, 1944, at approximately 1650, tanks from Company C, 37th Tank Battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams, made contact with the outer defensive lines of the 101st Airborne Division. This breakthrough officially ended the isolation of Bastogne. The corridor established by the 4th Armored Division allowed reinforcements, medical support, and supplies to reach the defenders. Although the town remained under artillery fire for several more days, Bastogne was no longer surrounded, and the strategic initiative gradually shifted back to the Allies.
The relief of Bastogne became one of the most significant achievements of the Battle of the Bulge. Patton's rapid maneuver, often cited as one of the fastest and most effective operational movements of World War II, prevented the collapse of the southern flank of the Allied line. Casualties were considerable. The 4th Armored Division alone suffered hundreds of killed and wounded during the push toward Bastogne. Units within Bastogne endured high losses from artillery fire, small arms combat, and harsh winter conditions. The German offensive continued into January, but the failure to capture Bastogne critically weakened their advance. By the end of January 1945, the Bulge had been eliminated, and Allied forces resumed their push toward Germany.
The relief of Bastogne stands as a clear example of rapid operational planning, discipline, and coordination. General George Patton's decisive action played a central role in stabilizing the front during one of the most dangerous phases of the war. The soldiers who held Bastogne and those who fought to reach it demonstrated resilience under extreme conditions. This operation remains one of the defining moments of the Western Front in World War II.
Please subscribe if you want to continue discovering real World War II history, told with accuracy, respect, and documented facts. More episodes are on the way.